Hello and welcome back to the Blame Game. Last weekend featured a clash of titans between Cloud9 and Team Liquid as they fought for sole possession of first place. But before we get into that one though, I want to take a look at another game featuring Team Liquid from day one. But before we get even into that though, I want to remind everyone to like, comment, subscribe, ding the bell, follow my Twitch channel where I record these live. It's really fun having people backseat my analysis and making me seethe. First up is EG versus TL, and the draft by EG was flamed for a lack of damage, the Jhin pick overall, and some lack of synergy as well. I'm just gonna come out and say it. What the fuck? How can people watch that game and the top comment, the biggest takeaway, be about the draft? Some of these points don't even make sense. They're lacking damage and can't punch through Team Liquid's extremely squishy draft? What, Zhonya's Galio is too beefy? Xin Zhao, the guy who's immune to damage no matter what anyways and is kind of squishy outside that window? You want to know why the Jhin did no damage? Well, let me show you. Right on his level 2 power spike, Danny and Vulcan go for a horrible all-in. I guess they didn't think TL would kill that creep and match the level 2, but once they do, it's easy to kill the melee Jhin. The smartest thing Danny did here was hold his flash so his lane wasn't totally boomed. Vulcan and Danny seem to recover this lane by playing the next all-in correctly, killing Hans, and just barely living themselves. However, now that Danny has flashed down, he should play more defensively, but walks up to a wave and instantly gets punished by Core JJ, who flashes on top of him. This firmly secures Ez Karma's advantage in the laning phase. At 11:20 into the game, Danny wants a reset at half HP and almost no mana. Vulcan is basically full HP and mana, so he wants to stay and contest some ward vision on Danny's recall. However, Vulcan then decides to recall himself for a desynced recall. These are situationally fine in losing matchups, but here it makes it so Danny cannot walk back to his turret and cedes total bot control to TL. This allows Team Liquid to take all 4 turret plates and skyrockets their bot lane's gold. I don't know who communicated what in this situation, but this travesty of a recall sacked the turret for absolutely no reason and skyrocketed Hans Sama in this game. I don't know why EG's drafts get flamed harder than anyone else's in the league. I don't particularly like them either, but the hate doesn't make much sense when the play is the clear problem here. On to the featured matchup, Team Liquid vs Cloud9. Everyone was hyping up the Summit vs Bwipo matchup, and the champion matchup also delivered with Tryndamere vs Jax. However, Cloud9 took care of Team Liquid rather handily, and a lot of fans ended up mocking Bwipo's play. But is this flame deserved? I went into this topic actually thinking I would defend Bwipo a little bit more than I will here. He plays the early dive well, holding his stun, which baits Blabber into an awkward pillar, and Summit turns around early, leading to a double stun, instead of just kiting it out with Ghost up and then spinning back in, which nets Bwipo a 1-for-1 and an early Warden's Mail in the matchup. He uses this power in lane to stack the wave and set up an easy dive for Team Liquid to snowball. Bwipo actually plays the lane, the trades, and the individual matchup quite well, which I think baited me into thinking he also played the game better than he did. The entire win con for Team Liquid was to use this advantageous top matchup and dive potential from the rest of the comp to get him and Ryze ahead to then 1-3-1 against Cloud9's standard 4-man core. The problem is the Rift Herald fight massively accelerates Summit's Tryndamere. Blabber has a nice pillar here, which will serve up Core JJ to his team, who is at a level 6 disadvantage for this fight. So Core JJ flashes away. Bwipo pops E to threaten the rest of Cloud9 and buy some space. Bwipo can then jump out to his backline to stun the Tryndamere and reset the fight while Zeri collapses since she is moving first, or he can jump in on Fudge for a 3-man stun and avoid the gravity field, allowing Core JJ to die, but then Bjerg and Santorin to close in on the fight. Bwipo opts for option C, where he just stands in the field and gets stunned and comboed. They then hard tunnel onto the Tahm Kench for some reason. Santorin sprints into the gravity field, Bjergsen gets split. When Hans finally arrives, he and Bjerg decide to go into melee mode. The entire fight is a disaster. TL lose 4-for-1 while Berserker got to stay bottom, and the game is pretty doomed from here. The entire team had some pretty bad misplays here, Bwipo included, but I think I remembered theirs more than his. If that was the end of Bwipo's troubles though, I don't think I would agree with the criticism, but unfortunately he continues to make mistakes. At 11 minutes and 20 seconds, he's trying to pressure Summit in lane with Santorin in his back pocket. But after Santorin is spotted on the ward, he needs to assume that Blabber is there since they have no deep vision. He either doesn't respect that possibility or just assumes that he can outplay. But him and Santorin's coordination is off, and Bwipo hands over another kill. The most egregious misplay comes much later in the game when he uses all of his abilities to hop a wall and try and clear a pink ward blind. Fudge punishes him well, and Bwipo greets his flash since he thinks he can just walk out of the gravity field. This death results in a huge fight for Cloud9 and the Baron. Bwipo definitely deserves to get called out for his play this game, but it's not like he was really letting the team down given how all of them were struggling. There is one last play that I will sort of defend for him though, which came after this Baron. With how much control Cloud9's comp has in sieges and how bad Team Liquid is at defending if they aren't ahead in the 1-3-1, Team Liquid want to force a fight before Cloud9 can set up. Hans baits multiple members top, leaving Berserker unattended mid with no flash. Bwipo sees this opportunity but just mistimes his E. Landing on the chompers is fine because even if he's rooted, Berserker should have been stunned right next to him, and then he could just keep on attacking and kill him. This is the right idea, just the wrong execution. That does it for this week of the Blame Game. Thank you all for watching. There are only 5 games left in the regular season, and with how CLG is surging up the rankings right now, I'm excited to see how the playoff hunt will end, especially given the fact that some of the other teams are slumping as well. I'm sure I'll be covering those teams in a lot more depth in the coming weeks, so make sure to watch then.
You know, sometimes when it's your job to do something and you can't figure out how to do it because you filmed so many outros over the years, and now you're just awkwardly at the end of somebody's YouTube video and they're sitting there being like, is this really happening? Is he just saying he doesn't know what outro to do? Well, if you're like that, then you might want to consider getting an Alienware computer. Because if I had one in front of me right now, maybe I'd have like a script that I've written on it that would be something I could refer to instead of this weird ad-lib thing that I'm doing right now. No, honestly, Alienware's got great stuff. We've been using everything that they create for years for TGI. I can actually officially say that now because it's just been like literal years. There's 2 years that just now where I wasn't even out here and we were using their stuff to do remote interviews, and it was awesome. They allow us to create wonderful 4K videos like this one, and I really appreciate their support. So if you appreciate my videos, understand that we couldn't do it without them. So go check them out. There's a link in the description below.